Do you text Leon or?
Hey, what's up, live? I haven't texted Leon.
Sorry.
No, but Leon, if you're listening, please join us. Please text me. I'll give you the link. It's just Nick and Chris today. The post-fight podcast is back. Hopefully, you can hear me and see me. I've been messing around with the studio. Got a new setup here in Times Square in Hong Kong, South China Morning Post. I'm back in the office, but Chris is still at home.
Yeah.
What's going on, Chris? Thanks for joining me. How are you?
Oh yeah, man, all good. Feeling great. Looking forward to the weekend ahead, followed by the short week we have next week with the bank holiday in the middle. I'm great. Just enjoying talking about the fights. I'm loving the new schedule over here on the channel. Seems like you're pretty much trying to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with a bit of content from you, me, JHK. So I'm liking it a lot.
Yes, so I was texting Chris before we went live, asking him what topics can we talk about today, and then he said, "Well, Nate Diaz and his tweets, and Kamaru Usman and the Angela Lee stuff." And I set it all up, and then I looked and I saw that John has actually chosen the same topics for his show tomorrow. So we'll try not to talk too much at length about them because I know he wants to discuss them with his guest, Mr. Jeremy Brand of MMA Sucker. So we will not go too much in depth, but since I've made this fancy graphic behind me of Usman and Nate, then I feel like we have to talk about it a little bit. So why don't we just talk something about that? So Nate Diaz, I'll try and bring up these tweets, Chris, but he basically was responding to John's interview with Gilbert Burns because BJPen.com ripped us off. No, they didn't. Adam Martin gave us credit in the story. Thank you, Adam Martin. They put up the quotes from Gilbert about Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards' fight, and he said that Leon didn't deserve a title shot based off that fight. And then Nate came back, didn't he? And now Gilbert I've just seen Gilbert said something. So why don't we start with what Gilbert said? It's the most recent tweet. I'll bring it on screen. But what do you make of the whole, what do we call it, a brouhaha?
A little bit of a brouhaha, a little bit of a cash grab, right? I mean, I feel like Usman deep down, I think he kind of really, really wants this Diaz fight at some point. I feel like they're kind of baiting each other. I feel like, he is kind of on his second way through the division, Usman, at the moment. Already beat Leon Edwards, already beat Covington once, beat Burns once. He's beaten most of the people in the top. And I do think Diaz is the money fight for him in this division, right?
Yes, it is completely the money fight, but I don't think Nate can in any way get a title shot. Do you? I mean, if he had sensationally knocked out Leon, yes, in that final round, then I would have been all up for that. But I don't know how Nate can. I saw a good meme where he was kind of on a stairmaster and was just kind of trying to go over 5 rungs to get to the top one, and that would be a little bit like what it would be for me. But I still think it is kind of the most interesting fight in terms of money, yes, for Usman. But realistically, Chris, it's Wonder Boy or Burns. If winner of that might make a good case, or you got Colby and Leon. I think they could do a number 1 contenders fight as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. It really, we've all got to be fair. It's probably Thompson Burns, Leon Edwards is probably going to be like a number 1 interim kind of title kind of fight. And and the thing is, if we do look at Usman Covington last time out, and you look, I think both of them had close to a year out after that fight, right? If it goes anyway that way, we could have them out for quite a while because that was just an absolute war. I mean, that's the most damage I've seen Usman take in a fight, and it's the most damage I've seen Covington take in a fight. So it does say a lot.
Okay, yeah, here's the tweet. I finally found it. Sorry. So this was bjpen.com. They wrote up the story that we had. John interviewed Gilbert for SCMP MMA, and Gilbert said Leon wasn't hungry enough against Nate, and he felt like he missed his shot, his opportunity for a title shot. I don't know. Did Nate kind of get it twisted? Because he was kind of praising Nate, and Nate then said he would have got knocked out like when you fought Hooker and Usman. You got your hungry ass slept amateur. Yep. It kind of felt, I don't know if Nate got the right idea from what Gilbert was saying. It was a little bit lost in translation, right?
Yeah, definitely 100%. And I also think on a little bit of maybe this is me being a Leon Edwards fan, my little bit of criticism towards Gilbert Burns here would be, I mean, he got the title shot, and I mean, Obviously, at that point, Woodley had just lost one fight, but obviously wasn't the same Woodley it was at a champion. And he did dominate Woodley in every aspect of the fight, and he won all 5 rounds. But, I mean, did he show he was hungry enough in that fight, really? He didn't really go for the finish on Woodley at all. Black belt in jiu-jitsu, former jiu-jitsu world champion. There is an argument to say he wasn't hungry enough in that fight. I mean, Damian Maia is probably his best finish, but apart from that, most of his best wins have been decisions. So on this one, as BJPen.com is asking, do I agree with Gilbert Burns? Not really. And I'm just, as a big Leon Edwards fan, I'm just a little bit tired of almost everyone in this game just putting this man down and not really ever getting the respect he needs. And it is a bit of a shame because it all comes down to that final round he had against Diaz that kind of took the shine off what would have been a 5-0 performance, a 50-45.
Yeah, and then here are these tweets from Nate poking fun at Usman, said, who's this guy fighting next? Someone he already KO'd. And then he said something else. Yes, you're doing great, champ. I wasn't trying to disrespect you. Have a good fight with one of those poor guys you beat up. Yeah. I think Nate started saying that he's beaten, Usman's already beaten everyone, hasn't he? That he's, apart from Thompson, but...
I think Usman replied to Nate Diaz something like, I'm going to 187 to 209.
Yeah, let's have a look.
As a big hip-hop fan, I know a 187 is means murder. And then 209 is obviously Stockton, right? It's the Stockton postcode. So
that's correct.
Obviously, a little bit of a shout out there, a little bit of disrespect. I mean, I'll tell you what, particularly if we go back to the I'm only fighting at 30%, I don't know who Kamaru Usman has been hanging down there with in Florida. I don't know whether he's been hanging out with some of the AEW guys or the WWE guys, but he has definitely got much better at talking, chatting, cutting a promo. I think we can all agree he's definitely improved on that.
Yes, here are the tweets. I see you 209. If you really want this 187, then call your boy Hunter. That is the matchmakers for the UFC, right? He's insinuating. And then what else did he say? One more. I just thought, yes, keyword champion, LOL. All you guys are just internet tough guys nowadays. Like I said, if you really want this pressure, then holler at your boy Hunter. And then, yes, some pictures showing him 187ing a few fighters in the division. I mean, it's hard to argue with Usman right now, isn't it? But
definitely 100%.
Yeah. How would you see that going down if he did fight Nate?
I think it'd be a really, really one-sided. You look at how one-sided his fight was with Masvidal, the rematch, both fights really, and then you look at what Masvidal did to Nate Diaz. I think a lot of us have got to realize as well, we've probably already seen Nate Diaz a few years ago, in all honesty, and in my opinion, I'm not even sure if we've actually seen the best Usman yet, or we are definitely seeing him at the best we've seen him so far. And he just seems to be getting better and better. And I just think Usman will probably finish it in the first 3, but I couldn't give an exact prediction. And anyone who follows me on Fanatics will know I'm not great at exact predictions.
Well, someone is calling for Drake Riggs. James Kendrick, when will you guys have Drake Riggs back? Well, James, I've just texted Drake to see if he's awake and wants to join the podcast. So we'll see if Drake wants to help us out, Chris. But otherwise, we will press on. And what should we discuss now? We wanted to talk a little bit about the atomweight Grand Prix, didn't we? Because I interviewed Angela Lee yesterday, my first interview with her since she gave birth. So she's back training. She's hitting the mats. Let's see if I can find this up here. But basically, yes, she still doesn't know, Chris, when she will even be back, even though she's training and preparing for her comeback fight. There is no date on that because the atomweight Grand Prix hasn't even started yet for a variety of reasons, and we don't even know when it will begin. So, yes, what do you make of this whole mess?
It's an absolute mess. It's just terrible. It's terrible for the promotion. It's terrible for Angela Lee. It's terrible for all the girls involved because they thought they'd be going into a Grand Prix able to earn some money in the early part of the year. It's been practically pushed back and pushed back and pushed back due to contractual issues with Singapore, issues with the virus, obviously. And it does make you think, though, but this could be used to Angela Lee's advantage. Does she maybe need a comeback fight? I mean, does she need to put her body through the rigors of training? I don't know. I'm not privy to her pregnancy. Obviously, she's elite. I'll assume she did it very, very professionally. But yeah, it's a little bit more opportunity maybe for her. And it does just show you, though, that this division has just grown stronger and stronger in one championship. There's so many fresh faces and fresh matchups for her. I do hope they still go ahead with the Grand Prix because it does bring the casual fans in. It does get people involved. You know, they've got people from 8 different countries, I do believe. So it's a bit of a geographical expansion in that sense. Yeah, but I just don't know when we're going to see Angela Lee back in the ring because who can she defend with these 8 out? Does she go against or does she have a comeback fight against the Ritu or B?
Well, hear me out. Well, first of all, yes, if you go check out Angela's Instagram, she's got some fascinating stuff on there about her journey coming back from giving birth. It's some cool content, as always, and some lovely shots of her baby, Ava Marie. But I have an idea for Angela, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But first, I mean, let me just read the quotes she gave me, Chris, from our interview. Just to fill it in. So I spoke to Angela and she said, it's a bummer that this is happening, but that's the story of what's been going on since 2020 and COVID is just pushing everything back. I was very excited to see the first round as well, but I think one always find a way when they're able to put on an event. It's going to be very exciting just because the anticipation will have grown so much. And then she said, I think I pushed her a bit more. She said, I think it's hard right now because different countries have different restrictions and it's constantly changing. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it happens within the next month or so, but I'll be eagerly waiting as well. And then she just said, you know, I'm not sure when it's going to happen. I'm just going to focus on me and my journey back. And my goal is to be in fight shape by the end of the year. My job is to just stay ready. So difficult for her, isn't it? Like you said, I just thought about this. How about she has a little fight at strawweight, you know, because then she doesn't have to get down all the way to the atomweight, you know, might be a little bit better. She could take on one of those girls in that division.
Strawweight or a catchweight would be fantastic. You know, I'm not a woman. I can't really talk about it too much. But women's bodies do go through changes. Not only we do have to remember she's still super young, so she's still getting older. So we would assume over time she probably will move up a weight class, because she's only halfway to 30 at the moment. But then you do look at it, you think probably maybe it would be good to have a fight at strawweight. And you know what? If this Grand Prix does happen and it goes really fast, you're putting it straight in after a pregnancy against an absolute killer. While it might be good for her to have a bit of a warm-up fight at strawweight. One championship will do this, similar to somewhere like Bellator, where they will build you up and they will give you warm-up fights and pick-ins. I'd like to see a strawweight or an atomweight non-title fight for a return, because I mean, should someone take it'd be a year and a half out if she fights at the end of next year, and you know, going straight in with someone like a Ham or a Stamp or someone like that could be just absolutely dangerous. And but you know, she's elite, so she's probably up for it, right?
Yes, the Lees are always up for it, but yeah, it's a complete mess. So I've been asking one for an update. They have no official update. Basically, I think it's censoring around. They're having trouble getting. I don't want to say too much here from what I've heard, because yes, but it's all based around certain fighters on that card can't get into Singapore for it, so they cannot do the card basically unless they change some fights on the card. I hope that is not too cryptic, but
is it time to get the Grand Prix rolling and get rid of my fantastic idea to have an all-women's card? Is it just time to let's throw out 2 quarterfinals? We don't need an all-women's card. It's COVID. We can save it for later. And is it just time? If we can put on 2 quarterfinals, let's just get them going and get the ball rolling. I mean, sometimes you do look at Bellator's Grand Prix that have been hugely successful, and they have 2 months between the first quarterfinal and the last quarterfinal. And I don't think it's a huge problem as long as the cards are stacked enough.
Yes, I 100% agree with you, Chris. It will be sad to miss out on the all-women's card. You know, the idea that you pitched through me to Chatri, and it was historic.
I've been thinking about, I want to see the winner of the Grand Prix fight Angela Lee for the title. I want to see Christian Lee on the same card. I want to see Victoria Lee on the same card. And I want to see Bruno on the card. Let's get rid of the all women's card and let's have an all Lee family card.
Yeah, what a good idea. See, Chris, you just need to start working for one championship. Okay, so I'm just tweeting out the link for this. Sorry, there you go. It's up now. Retweet it, please, Chris.
Yeah,
I'll
no
tag
problem.
you in it. Yes. Okay.
I will just respond to James Kendrick's quick question.
Oh, yes.
Why did one schedule a fight for Ritu if they knew she was fighting in the Grand Prix? Well, I think as well it was kind of a way to get Ritu a fight and kind of realizing maybe she's not quite at that level to go into the Grand Prix right now. I think she needs to probably work on her craft a little bit more. I think she's probably a year off in her development for the Grand Prix, in my opinion. I think B was the right level of fighter for her to fight. I think she was stepping up hugely to go. I think she was originally planned to go against Meng Bo, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, and that's I mean, the level between B and Meng Bo, no offense to B, but that is a very big jump in quality between those two. And you just don't want to put Ritu through that, right?
No, you do not.
Yeah.
Ritu versus B matchup didn't really make sense, says James. Yeah, I also asked Angela about that. And interestingly, she said, I thought Ritu won. But then she also said, after B won, I thought that B should have perhaps been in the Grand Prix. And it was all very confusing, or a bit confusing, she said. And I agreed with her. It's all been a bit of a mess. And now Julie Meza Barber, is it? The Brazilian will be fighting Meng Bo. So if this ever happens, Angela had no idea about Julie either. A bit weird. I think you're right, Chris. Let's just have if we can get a card going, because I know that there are some fighters in camp. They have got Onglar is in camp now in Sanford, and so are some of his teammates at Sanford. So Tony Caruso is in camp, and Yuya Wakamatsu is over there. So I feel like he's maybe preparing for, you got to think it's Adriano Moraes, right? And then you've got a few other people, who've sort of said they're preparing for fights. So I feel like a card is in the works for July. They're not going to have anything in June, but it's not going to be in power. So if I'm them, I think, Chris, you're right. Let's slap a couple of these quarterfinals on there. Just, admit defeat in this bold idea to have the all women's card. They can do that again down the line at some point. But it's just, I think in these times, it's too impossible, if that's a phrase I could use. So, James, more comments here. I thought the whole point of a Grand Prix is that who you're fighting. Yes, we know it's going to be Sioki Ham in the end. We'll see. Yes,
I disagree with that. I think Ham. I don't think Ham's going to go out in the first round. I don't think it's going to be an Eddie Alvarez situation. But there's not many Grand Prix where the favorite actually wins it. There's a few bumps along the way. It is a shame about what happened with Eddie, because it would have been very nice if Eddie would have won, to have Eddie versus Ham, Eddie versus Christian, and Ham versus Angela Lee on the same card. I think that could have arguably been one's biggest card if they had those two matchups. I think that would be their biggest card since Century, I want to say. Because Eddie, huge star, Ham, a huge star in the East. And you've got these Eddie, one of the best to ever do it, one of the best ever lightweights, champion in the UFC, champion in Bellator. Ham, a champion pretty much everywhere she went, apart from the UFC, where she was fighting out of her weight class. Champion in Rizin, Rhodes, pretty much everywhere she fought. That would have been the dream. But yeah, Ham is the favorite, but I just don't see it going that way. I think she's going to do well, but there's a lot of variables going into this Grand Prix, a lot of different styles, some bigger girls than Ham, because it's not really the same atom weight as it is in Rizin. I think it works out to be a few kilos more. So it's a bit of a tough one.
Ooh. Okay, maybe Chris could field this. Will you guys be talking about Kana Watanabe versus Liz Carmouche, #Kana Army, and Rain is also in the Kana Army, and so is James, I think. Look, guys, I reached out to Big Rig on WhatsApp, Mr. Drake Riggs. He's not replied, the bastard. So, if Chris, you would like to take this one, I'm trying to figure out my microphone at the moment, so I'm going to throw it to you quickly.
Yep. Yeah, it's absolutely no problem, man. I mean, this is a big one this weekend. This is Bellator 261. It's a pretty good card. Kind of want to Nabe at the moment. 10-0-1. I had the chance to see her, I want to say, in Rizin back in 2015. I also saw her at the Heisei's last Jaranoka show. Saw her a few times in Deep Duels. Fantastic fighter. Has been dominant almost everywhere she went. Versus Liz Kamaru, she absolute legend of the game, still killing it. And a lot of people think, oh, she got cut from the UFC, but you have to remember, her last fight in the UFC was losing the title fight to Valentina Shevchenko, probably the second most dominant female champion, or third, if we include Ronda Rousey's fantastic run. But, you know, on the Mount Rushmore of female MMA fighters, so this expects to be a banger. I think Kana Watanabe probably just has the advantage. I mean, neither of them are particularly young, 37 and 32. But I just think Kana Watanabe has just such a good all-round game, fantastic striking. She's not so great, I think, will be taking Liz down to the ground, but I think if she is on the ground, I think she probably has a bit of a higher level of jiu-jitsu where she maybe could look for the submission. Obviously, coming from a judo background, she is just an absolute fantastic athlete. And I think it's probably on that Bellator card, and I mean no disrespect to the main event, I think that and the Miles Jury Sydney Outlaw fights are probably the two fights to look out for on that card.
Okay, I still can't hear myself on my mic, but Chris, you reliably informed me that there is audio coming from it, right?
Oh, audio, I can hear you. I think everyone in the comments can hear you.
Okay, if you cannot hear me, please put a comment saying so, because I'm flying blind here or deaf, whatever. I'm just not getting anything through here.
Can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I'm just going to say as well, I think this is going to be such a big moment really for Bellator because they've done the cross promotion with Rizin before. But I think to actually have a Japanese star be in their ranks will open that up again. And we'll see more cross promotion. And for 100%, whoever wins this is going to fight for the title.
Okay. Rain Lamina asking, why is JHK so sensitive when asked about Bellator rankings? I don't know. I don't want to pile in on JHK, but maybe he doesn't want to come across as...
Over here, Rain, we're SCMP post-fight podcast crew. We've all got each other's back. I mean, the thing is, it's really hard. I speak to Nick about his rankings. I speak to John about his rankings. And it's really, really hard because we look at the rankings and we blame it all on one person. But what we do have to remember, it is an aggregate. There's a lot of people putting in different views. I've had my issues with the rankings. I mean, I think Darren Caldwell never even had a ranking. There's some absolutely ridiculous people who haven't had rankings. Some people have really high rankings. But, you know, Bellator they only launched their rankings in December, I want to say. January.
Not too long ago, yeah. Late last year, I think.
They're probably still learning how to do it. Like, in my opinion, I think since one introduced rankings, they have got better over time.
Apparently, JHK exploded last time I asked him. So, Rain is just curious. I've never seen JHK explode. So,
no.
Is this fake news? I'm not sure. I'm sure you just made. I mean, maybe there was a misunderstanding. I don't think John cares that much about anything in life to explode. So he's a very laid back, chill guy.
Yeah.
And maybe JHK, if you're listening, you can fill us all in on what happened here. But I'm on the One Rankings panel, and I frequently discuss how much a load of shit I think it is, because it doesn't matter what I say. I think the promotion still retains the 50% of that. So if they would like to shove in a certain fighter for a certain card so that they can say, oh, this guy's ranked 5th, you know, on that card, they can do that. They did that with Lowen Tainanis when he fought Gafarov. And that's how Gafarov then got the number 5. And then that's how Oak got the number 5. And that's how Eddie would have got the number 5 if he beat Oak. It's all weird, isn't it? And they did the same. They just shoved Ham in the atomweight rankings, even though she's not even fought yet in the promotion. You know I'm passionate about this, Chris.
Yep.
You know I'm passionate. I do not believe you should be ranked in a promotion if you have not fought in that promotion
100%. And I think as well, I think most organizations, maybe the UFC apart, but definitely Bellator and One. I get the feeling, you don't have to agree with me, Nick, you don't have to say anything, but I do get the feeling that they use the media as a guide and then kind of do their own thing with it at the end, if you know what I mean. They're kind of like the editor, right?
Okay. That's the problem.
Yeah.
John KL loves your haircut. You
Thank
should have
you
seen
very
it
much,
the other
John.
day, John. It was even fresher. When he came
Yeah.
in, you met me for a coffee and you look perfect. Yeah. Not saying it's not great now, Chris. But
Yeah.
John, you should have been there last Thursday or whenever it was.
Of course.
Okay, apparently it was on JHK's show with Shingo and Drake. So I'm going to check it out. Yeah, we'll see if maybe if we got time later, we can bring it up live on this show and dissect it. I asked him about the Bellator rankings, and his response was pretty explosive. Well, let's see. I reserve judgment. Rain. Hi guys, says Jose. Hey Jose, what's up? Any update on the heavyweight from Kyrgyzstan, Tilek Zhinbekov? I hope I pronounced that right. Chris, do you have any idea?
The Asian line, right? I want. Wasn't he on the card that Sasha was on? Right, he was in over in AFC. I have no idea. I don't know if he's still with AFC. Has he signed with One Championship? Jose Flores. I don't know if you have any information on that.
I'm on his Tapology now, and yeah, his last fight was cancelled, so that was 2018. Yes, no idea then. So what's going on with him? Apologies, Jose. We cannot fill you in. Rain's going to get us a timestamp. Oh yeah, let's get the popcorn as well. I want to see JHK explode. Yeah. Well, yes, it's so bizarre. I'm trying to I cannot even hear anything through here. The mic's not going, but I'm going on your word, Chris, that this microphone is working.
It is working, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just to go very back about, I think someone said that they're not making a big thing of Cameron Liz Comus. Yeah, I find it really strange. Bellator, they're really just pushing the main event in all the advertising. I find they're not really pushing. They've got Keone Diggs on there, who's undefeated. They're not pushing the Miles Joris in the Outlaw fight. They're not pushing kind of Liz Comus. They're really pushing Timothy Johnson, which I think he's a very, very good fighter, but he's just not a top. He's just not explosive enough for me. And anytime he fights an elite level guy, he doesn't quite get it done. But I'm very happy for Moldavsky. Once again, I'll say I did see him fighting Rizin. I want to see for Amir Ali Akbari actually back in the day in the Grand Prix with I want to see with Krokop and Nemkov and all those guys. It's fantastic in Moldavsky. It's very nice to see him go to the Mohegan Sun to fight because I was looking through his record earlier, and I think his last 7 fights have all been in Fackersville, Oklahoma, which it's not the most glorious of destinations to be going to for every fight you've had in America. It must be nice to get to the Mohegan Sun and see a different side of America, right?
Absolutely. Back on the Asian Lion, Jose's telling us he's done some training with Stipe Miocic in the past. He hasn't fought since 2018, and some of his most recent posts make it look like he might have some news. A guy like him could be a good fit for UFC or One. Yeah, well, One is definitely beefing up their heavyweight division, right, Chris? We've seen that.
Yeah. I think
so
now
I wouldn't be surprised if
probably
he turned up there.
From welterweight and above now, there's probably an argument to say that heavyweight is probably out of those, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 heaviest weights. The heavyweight now is probably the most stacked with just talent all over the place. People like Kang, Amir Alekbari, Brendan Vera, Singh Bulla, just getting better and better all the time.
Well, 105,000 followers.
Oh,
this
wow.
Man. Yeah. There he is, posing in a lake, flexing. Yeah, looks like he's training for something. So it'd be great to see him turn up in One.
100%.
I love the heavyweight fights. I All right, we got a timestamp for JHK. I'll try and find that. But Chris, yes. What else did we want to discuss today? We were just gonna look as well to the UFC card. There's a lot going on this weekend, isn't there?
Yeah,
yes. You've already talked a little about Bellator, I think. And
it's a bit of a strange weekend because we've got PFL, we've got UFC, we've got Bellator. There's a lot of good fights over all the cards. There's not a single card that really blows you away like it was a few weeks ago. I think the UFC card's going to be pretty fun. I'm really excited for the main event in particular. I think it's where we really see where Cyril Gane really is. And I think as well, it does just show you now we're starting to get a lot more talent coming out of France, particularly after the legalization. And, you know, with Cyril Gane coming through, to have another guy who's come through Paris along with France and Ghana would be absolutely fantastic.
Okay. I'm trying to find this damn video so we can see John explode. Because that sounds fun. Yeah, all right. You keep doing previews, Chris, while I do that. So what else should everyone keep looking forward to?
I would say on the UFC, I think Tanner Bossa versus OSP is going to be fun, but I honestly think Tanner Bossa is a little bit too big for OSP. A fun fight heavyweight will be Andre Philly versus Daniel Pineda. I think that's got all the ingredients for a potential fight of the night. And I think a little bit of a war. Andre Philly is always a very, very fun, exciting fighter to watch. Got Tim Means and Nicholas Dolby. Should be a good match. Nice to see Nicholas Dolby back, trying to push forward. Fantastic fighter. You've got Renato Moicano versus Jai Herbert. This fight, I have a lot of problems with. I was watching our good friend, Johnny Young Cohen, James Lynch on Fanatics live show last night. The greatest app out there. Go and download it, guys. Compare our picks with yours. But I do just want to say they were absolutely disrespecting my man from Manchester, Jai Herbert. They were saying he's too many levels below Renato Moicano. They were expecting a one-sided fight. I actually think Jai Herbert is one of the best fighters out there. I think he's one of the best prospects that the UK currently has in the UFC. I think he was very unlucky at the Trinidad fight. He got knocked out very early, but I think apart from that, he's just been building and building. Renato Moicano, whenever he's fought a top-level guy, he's lost. And I just fancy Jai Herbert to win this one. And I think if I had to bet on it, I'm going to go 30-27 decision, actually. I think it's going to be a little bit of a masterclass. And I think we're finally going to see the real Jai Herbert in the UFC octagon.
Putting your money where your mouth is there. Precise.
That's it, 100%. And then
I found this video. Let's watch that, and then we can get into other fights. I want to see if JHK explodes. Oops, I don't think I shared the audio, so 1 second. I'm all over the place with the technical stuff. Okay, share audio. It's 29.
So I think maybe that might have to do something with, with picking Ishiwata.
Redemption. All right, before we move along, Rain has this question about the Bellator rankings, so I'm gonna get into this right now. And I am part of the Bellator rankings panel, and he's asking me why is Valor Laredo ranked above Porto. I don't know. Why? I just turn in my rankings. That's it. Like, I don't control the rankings. Any question you ask me about the rankings, I don't know, because all I do is go into the website, turn in my rankings after each Bellator event, and then they put up the rankings. You know what I mean? Like, you need to go ask Bellator. Like, I have no idea. And Bellator doesn't even control the rankings. They have like a third party doing it. So if you have a gripe, go at them. For me, I turned in my rankings. And did I rank her above Porto? You will never find out, because I'm not going to tell you. You know what I mean? You'll never know. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, the rankings come out. There's always going to be gripes about the rankings. Rizin can do a rankings. People are going to be mad about those rankings. They're going to be like, who's ranking these fighters? The UFC rankings, they've been criticized since day one. You know what I mean? Like, it will never stop happening. So there is some confusing aspects of rankings and why there's movement this way or that way. But I'm personally, me being involved in the panel, I just turn in my rankings, man, and then they do it. So there's nothing I can really tell you. You know, there's other shows that criticize the rankings. I say go talk to those people because they're the ones who will probably dig into all the panelists. Like the panelists should show their rankings, and the panelists don't know what the fuck they're talking about. The panelists are idiots, and I'll be like, hey, you're up to, you know, you could have your opinion, man. Like I don't care if you call me an idiot. It doesn't matter to me. I just turn in my rankings. So Rain, I hope that answers your question. Now let's move on to the Grand Prix again.
So I don't think he's mad there.
I wouldn't say he exploded, but just gave a little bit of a piece of his mind, and it was kind of what we were saying earlier. Is it is a compilation. You come up with a top 10 with your friends, all write it down, and I bet you there's huge differences if you do it in a lot of divisions, and there's always compromises here and there, and we do have to remember these are promotions, these are not independent. It's not like boxing or other sports where the rankings are done independently of the sport, so they're controlled by the promotions. The promotion's always going to do what's best for their bottom line. Can you bring up Makoto Kyogu?
Yes.
Question: what do you think about media members disrespecting fighters? I think it's totally fine. Sometimes I think a lot of fighters think of stuff as disrespect. I think in other sports, team sports, I think if a media member says which team they're going to win, is going to win a certain match or is going to win the Super Bowl, you never hear the guys who win the Super Bowl go into a media member and being like, oh, you got it wrong, and they just get paid and move on. I think there's a lot of people with a little bit of thin skin in this MMA game sometimes. And, a lot of media members want to give opinions and get fan involvement, talk to fans. I mean, we're sponsored by a picks app, so we do kind of have to give picks, otherwise it's so useless.
Yes. Martin Boucher says JHK, the one and only JHK. Exactly. I don't think that's JHK being mad. I know JHK, and that's just, he gets animated and passionate sometimes, and he's really, I don't think he had any madness or angry tone there. It's just, he probably gets a lot of questions about it. I get a lot of questions about my one picks, but I'm happy to tell you my one picks. I always put them out there on these shows, and I'll always do that. I think there should be transparency in these things, because then if everyone could reveal their rankings, we could see how they all add up and we get these stupid things. I think it would be good for everyone's selections to be available on the website wherever they have them, and then the promotion can show, oh yeah, well, these people all did that, but then we came in with our 50% and we just wanted to shove Shoki Ham in there, so sorry guys, it doesn't really matter. So I think that should be the way they do it, but that's just me. I'm a controversial guy, Chris, you know that.
Yeah, no problem. Can I just finish off a little bit of this one championship? Not one championship, UFC. I just want to point out two more fights for the people out there. Check out on the prelims, Kennedy Nchukwu versus Danilo Marquez. I think that's an absolute banger. Kennedy, an absolute beast of an athlete. Won 3 out of his 4 fights. Debuted against Paul Craig and lost by submission in a fight he was kind of winning. Paul Craig is just a tough guy to debut against in the UFC. He's such a submission specialist. We all saw what he did. Was it last week? And he's always capable of it. Absolute fantastic athlete. And then the one I want to touch out mostly is Michel Prazeres versus, I want to say, hope I'm saying it right, is Shavkat Rakhmonov. On the
if I'm not going to get it right.
Yeah, I'm trying my best, but this is actually a guy, some people compare him a little bit to Khamzat Chimaev, but if you look what he's done in the UFC so far, he's fought a much higher level of opponents. He is a welterweight. He's just been absolutely dominant in everything he's done. His win against Cowboy in his debut was absolutely fantastic, and I actually think that this is a guy to watch out for the future. Give it 4 years? Not 4 years, sorry, 4 more fights and he'll be right there in the top 10. And I think he's got everything in there actually to beat everyone in the top 5, to tell you the truth. I think by the time he's 28, I think Usman and Covington will have a real task on their hands fighting a guy like this.
-300. Wow, look at those odds, Chris. 86% of people on the app picking him. 13-0. Odds shortened. If you like all this stuff, go check out the Fanatics app. They've got all of this stuff for every single fight out there. Normally, we like to preview a bunch of fights, but it's been a bit all over the place today. Chris, yeah, if you want to pick out a couple others to look at, what were you saying? You spoke about Kennedy and Zetchiku, right? Against Danilo Marquez. Yeah, -125 favorite. I haven't made any of my picks yet on the app, so if you want all our picks, just go on the app, join our group, SCMP MMA, and you can see my picks, Chris, Mr. Drake Riggs, JHK. We've got a few other people on there. Jasmine, she does picks, and who else? Matt Scott never does any. He's lazy. Yeah. Tom Taylor sometimes joins in the fun. Michael Owens, he's reliable. Mr. Andrew Whitelaw, 50-50. He's not. I better remind all these fools to make their picks. Yes, as Chris mentioned, Jay Herbert, Renato Moicano. Moicano, Chris, is favorite, -240.
Yeah, he is, but I just think a lot of that is we just haven't seen the best Jay Herbert yet. Honestly, guys, I'm just gonna say I think he's an absolute talent. I love him. Loved him back in Cage Warriors. Just give him a chance because I think he's the one to maybe shock on this card.
Is Jai Herbert the guy who got knocked out and then the ref was like just letting him get beat up by I forgot his name. Finaldo, yeah. And then Dan Hardy went mental, didn't he? He screamed at Herb Dean. And that was the beginning of the end for Dan Hardy, I think, in the UFC.
Yeah.
Sort of. We love Dan. He also helps out with Fanatics. They've been pushing it on the Full Reptile. They have a group there, so go check them out. But, you know, we got a good chat group going as the SCMP MMA, so don't stray too often.
100%. Stay with us, you know.
A few other good fights, man. Yeah, good card here.
I'm excited. Pretty good card, man. And as always, you know, the prelims, they can look a little bit thin. I think the main and co-main of the prelims are fantastic, but you never really know what you're going to get, and you can get some of the best fights. The amount of times we sit here after a card and we talk to each other and we're like, you know what, the prelims was better than the main card, and it seems to happen more often than not at the moment.
I've got an update from Drake Riggs. Quickly, I'll just tell you all, since a few people were asking for him. He says, "Damn it, LOL." Sorry, Drake, to share our private messages. The one day I've been out all day fishing and I just got off the lake. And then he has the monkey emoji doing that. So it's no problem, Drake. I hope you enjoyed your fishing trip. You deserved some time off there. Why does JHK hate the Kana army? I don't know. Does he? You'll have to ask JHK that. Here's a question, Chris, maybe more related to what you were just talking about. Why doesn't Jay Herbert use the Slumdog Millionaire song as his walkout? Jai Ho. That could be fun.
John KL, that is the smartest thing I've ever seen. I think it's fantastic. We should all get tweeting it out. I'd love to see it. I do love people who don't take their entrances a little bit too smart, and I do like people who have a little bit of fun with it.
I feel I came up with the best one ever, but I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to tell him. Kevin Holland should have Big Mouth Strikes Again by the Smiths, right? Hear me out, because nickname, Big Mouth, and he strikes again, you know, he knocks someone out, and it's a great song. Someone tell him, if you know Kevin Holland, get in those DMs. I think it would be funny. But anyway, what else on this card? Yeah, should be a good main event. We're going to have interviews with Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov going up today on the channel SCMP MMA. Andrew Whitelaw took care of those for me. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you my very quick main card picks very quickly, but definitely going with Cyril Gane. I will go with in the main event 100%. I think he's the future of this division. I think he's one of the guys who's going to push people. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, I think 100% in the next 2 to 3 years, he's probably going to fight for a title. I think it's almost a done deal. I think he's got everything there. I think that
fight against Rosenstruck, my goodness, he moved around like Floyd Mayweather. It was incredible display, I thought. But will Dana White like this style of seeing a heavyweight kind of outbox someone and defensively, instead of going and knocking out someone like Derek Lewis does, like Ngannou? it doesn't seem like a recipe for Dana White's love, does it, Chris?
In some ways, yes, and I would say 100% if he were American. But France, man, they can have UFC now. He's French. He speaks French, obviously. He's out of Paris MMA Factory, the same place as Francis Ngannou. But just most importantly, he is representing France. He uses the French flag. And when people do forget, with Savant and with judo, France has a huge legacy in combat sports, and it's hugely popular out there.
Cyril hype train, boys. Exactly as John Chaos says.
You do look at someone like Marvin Vettori, and you think we have some huge stars in this sport, but Marvin Vettori now has to deal with Dolce & Gabbana, kind of through being the one Italian star, and so again kind of has that opportunity. And look, the UFC is always looking to break into new markets, and I'd love to see a cheeky little event in Paris. Would be in the Accor Arena would be quite nice, and you're quite nice there because you'll get a lot of British fans as well who will make use of the Eurotunnel.
Well, you've made your pick, so I better make mine quickly. I'm going to go for Cyril Gane. Bon gamin, indeed. I'm not going to pick the method of victory. I would, in my head, think he's going to get a decision. So let me do it now. That is the wrong card. That is Bellator. The app, I would say the app is not entirely responsive all the time. I might have a chat with James. Do you find that, Chris? I don't want to. No, I shouldn't negatively say anything about the app. Download the app.
Yeah, I found the app pretty good, to tell you the truth, as of late. They definitely ironed it out, and it is getting better and better. And there's just more statistics, more content on there.
Yes,
and it gets better time after time. Obviously, I have to go with Tanner Bossa. I mean, he is a true heavyweight. I think this is very one-sided. And you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is in this fight. I'm going to go Tanner Bossa to get the KO TKO.
I'm going to join you on that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then just to finish off the main cards, I think Barcelos is going to win easy. I think he's got a lot more experience. He's far more well-rounded. He looks a little bit better in the striking department.
Following everything you say. So.
General. And then again, I said it earlier, I'm going with Andre Fili.
Yes.
Just a fantastic fighter once again. And then this is one that's maybe going a little bit against the grain. But I'm going to go with Nicholas Dalby. He was a huge fan of his back in Cage Warriors. He came over to the UFC, fought Peter Sabota. I think he lost 3 fights in a row, had a bit of a rough time. He went away back to Cage Warriors, he's kind of rebuilt himself. I think in his last 6, he's got 4 wins and 2 no contests. Just to show he's probably coming better, getting a little bit more of his confidence back, because you know what, you watch him with fights in Cage Warriors and he was a guy who can do everything. I know this is a higher level, but I still believe that there's probably still time. And then just to round out the main card, going with my boy Jai Herbert.
I'm gonna go for, oh my god, it's a tough one. I might have to go for Moicano, sorry Chris, and I may have to go against you again. I never bet against the dirty bird, Tim Means.
That's
so
fair.
There you go. I'll look at the rest of those picks. Chris has already mentioned a few you should be looking at and who you should get on. With a bunch of cards as well. Johnson, Moldavsky. Chris already gave his picks, didn't you, for Bellator? Just have you done them on the app?
No, but I could do it now if you want me to.
Quick rundown. Let's do it. Yeah, all right.
Very quick rundown of Bellator 261.
Love the pictures.
I do love the pictures. I love Tim Johnson with his great moustache. He's one of those guys, man. He shows like, I don't want to say middling, but when you're there or thereabouts in the UFC, kind of similar to Ryan Bader in a way, and it does show you, if you're not getting your love in the UFC, if you're not getting what you think you're worth, sometimes you just have to leave the organization and go elsewhere. But for me, Moldavsky is just a level above. Saw him fighting Rizin, a fantastic fighter. Only the 1 loss on the record to Ali Akbari, but I think he's just going to edge this one.
Okay. I got no clue. I'll be honest. I am not very clued up on Bellator, but I will follow Chris and JHK there.
Yep.
That's all I can do. Okay, yes, Liz Carmouche and Kana Watanabe. We already went and discussed this at length a little bit, didn't we, Chris? But
Yeah, I'm well and
you've
truly
gone for. Yeah, I'll join you there.
Yeah,
Okay,
100%.
JHK is with Liz though. All right.
And I think as well, it's a very even fight. I think the odds should have been a bit closer. And I think at plus 170, I think Kana Watanabe is probably just about worth it. And she's definitely more popular on the app.
Yes, she is 58% there. I'm picking her.
Yeah.
Make of that what you will. All right. Daniel Weichel against Keone Diggs.
The undefeated Keone Diggs coming off a great last win, I want to say, against Campos. He's being talked about highly. Everything I've heard about him is fantastic. He's one of those fighters that they keep saying is just going to go up another level. So I'm going to back Keone Diggs for this one. And Nick has had to mute. I think someone's walked into the office very quickly. So while he's there dealing with that, I will move on to what I think personally is going to be the fight of the night on this Bellator card. Miles Jury versus Sydney Outlaw. I think this is going to be an absolute war. Gotta love Miles Jury. Anyone who wants to know a little bit of the inside of the how MMA works, how fighter pay works and whatnot, should definitely check out Miles Jury's YouTube channel. He does offer fantastic insights. Very well educated man.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think it's
okay.
Going to be.
So there was like a power outage. Oh, it's back. Whoa. I didn't do anything to do that. So thank you, whoever an SCMP put the power back on. That was very kind of you. And now I can hear myself. It's rebooted the machine. Okay, great. Wish I could have heard myself earlier. It's strange when you're talking and you can't hear yourself. Okay. You went for Miles Jury. I want to join you, Chris.
Yeah.
Now that I'm not in the dark anymore. That was really strange, the whole thing. Okay. Christian Edwards, Ben Parrish.
Christian Edwards, Ben Parrish. This is an absolutely tough one because, I mean, there's not much to go off both of them. According to Fanatics, one of them has the nickname NA or not applicable, and the other one has the nickname Big Tuna, which gonna be one of the oddest nicknames out there. I have absolutely no idea. I tried to watch a little bit of footage. They don't have much out there, so I'm just going to go with Christian Edwards. I like the first part of his first name. I like his second name. Reminds me a bit of myself. I'm a Chris Edwards Bailey, so this is a Christian Edwards. That's a terrible reason to make a pick. Don't follow me, guys, but that's it.
Oh, here's Mr. Big Rig. Jumped in the chat. Fresh off the lake. What did you catch, Drake? Tell us about it. I was just about to write the message to you, Drake, before the power went out.
Drake's a fisherman. Tom Taylor's a bit of a fisherman. So is
JHK.
JHK himself, man. They should create the post-fishing podcast.
Yeah, well, JHK invited me out to fish with him. He said you could stay at my house whenever we can actually fly again. So I'll be taking you up on that offer, JHK. I know that Onglar likes to fish as well. Yeah, maybe one day, if I ever make it to Florida, Onglar can take us fishing. That'll be fun.
100%.
This fight is cancelled. Lena, I cannot pronounce that, against Kyra Batar. Sorenbach, Bobby Lee.
Sorenbach, fantastic fighter, 14-1 record. I'm going to put my British hat once again, guys. I'm so sorry for this, but I just remember him fighting in Cage Warriors. He had some fantastic fights over there. I want to say he did win the belt, and I fancy him to run through Bobby Lee because I love anyone who comes from Cage Warriors myself. And then I'm just going to say, no offense to anyone on the rest of the cards, but on the rest of the cards, there are people who fight. I mean,
yes,
some of the records lower down a little bit low, and most of these is a little bit of guesswork because we've got guys 0-0, 2-2, 1-1.
You can look at the app to see the rest of our picks on there if you want to, or let us know who you're picking in the chat group on the app. Otherwise, what's the next card we should briefly look at?
I would just
PFL 6.
Yeah, I'd like to just go through a few of the top fights. I'm just going to say to anyone out there who is a better man at the moment, whenever Khabib fought, you should have bet on Khabib.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that with Kayla Harrison right now. I honestly think, I think she's got 3 more fights left on her PFL contract. This is her last fight in the group stage, and then she has a semi-final and a final if she were to win both, and then she's done with her contract. I do think we see her go to possibly Bellator, but most likely the UFC. I honestly think while she's in PFL right now, she's going to win every fight she has in the rest of this season, right? She's going to win that $1 million again. For the 3rd time, will it be? So she's making herself very wealthy.
Look at those odds. Oh my god.
Oh wow.
Minus 2,500. Jesus.
Yeah, it's I can't remember the last time I've seen odds like that. And the odds have shortened for Kayla. She opened at 1,725. So wow, I mean, to say the truth, it does make you think if you have $1, maybe put $1 on Cindy Dandios, but I think it's very unlikely. I'm going to back Kayla Harrison. And you know what the thing is? She's added so much more to her game. I just really can't wait to see her get to the playoffs because I think that's really the level of competition she needs to go against.
I'm going for it. I'm going for Dandois.
Well,
Cindy,
I mean, whatever you
imagine if I win, I will leapfrog to the top of the group forever in this month.
Well, that's it. I guess with the odds being that short on Kayla, anyone, you're just going to win $1 right on the app. It's going to work out to something like that. It's not going to be much to your overall score. Yeah, I fancy Kayla Harris to get it done. I fancy her to finish it. I just don't know how she'll do it because she's fantastic with submissions. But as you've seen, she's getting more knockouts, more TKOs. She's just adding more and more elements to her game. And she's just another one of those great judokas, along with kind of Watanabe, along with Ronda Rousey, to still be going in and doing well in MMA.
5% are picking Cindy.
Oh, wow.
I'm just doing it for a laugh because who knows? I fully expect Kayla Harrison to win comprehensively. So Anthony Pettis, we also have an interview with him, which will be up today. Andrew again took that for me last night. Thank you, Andrew. I was out eating chicken wings, so I couldn't make it. You saw me there, Chris. Anthony Pettis against Roche Manfio. What do you think?
For this one, I have gone with Anthony Pettis. I think he had a bit of a poor performance last time. I think he did maybe realize the level of caliber of opponent he was going against in the PFL. I think this one is maybe a bit more of a favorable matchup for him, but it's still going to be a tough outing. He really, really did look out of depth in his last fight. I didn't really have him winning a round. I just hope he can pull it back because, with Verdum out now, Rory getting robbed, but going on to the semi-finals at least, I think Anthony Pettis and Kayla Harrison qualifying tonight would just give the PFL the star power they need going into their playoff rounds. So, yeah, I'm just going to back Anthony Pettis to use his brains and his nose to get through this one. Because I love Showtime Pettis, and I just want to see him do the best he can.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Chris. Anthony Pettis. Okay, Lance Palmer against Movlid Kaibulaev, the killer against the party. What are you thinking?
100%. I think this is a really, really tough fight. And you know what?
Palmer's he's the underdog here.
Yeah, he is the underdog. And you know what? At age 34, he's starting to get a little bit old for featherweight for his division. He's gone through a lot of wars. He's been with the PFL for so long, going all the way back to the World Series of Fighting days. I thought what happened in the Bubba Jenkins fight was not really a good omen. I thought it was very, very clearly dominated in every round. It kind of laid the great groundwork. Bubba Jenkins used his fantastic wrestling. I think he was a national champion in wrestling. Kubalaev has pretty strong wrestling. He is from Russia. He's been able to train against Dagestanis and Chechens his whole life. And I just fancy it. I think Lance Palmer might just be a little bit over the hill. Hopefully he can prove me wrong. He has won, I think he's won the tournament 2 times before, so he has won those $1 million. He has got paid. But in all honesty, I just don't think that year out at this age has probably done very well for him. And it does make me a little bit upset that some of the people like Kayla Harrison in the PFL and some other people were allowed to have fights outside the organization last year, while some of them were kept for this season. To me, that doesn't quite sit right at the moment in retrospect.
WMMA Signal, what's up? Good to see you again. Saying PFL matchmaking this year has been atrocious for the ladies. Yeah, slightly off.
Yes.
Rest of this card, quickly breeze through it. Or any other fights, Chris, you want to pick out quickly as I scroll down?
You know what? There's not really any other fight apart from that, but I will tell maybe Caitlin Young fight. I think the second from the start will be pretty good. Big Caitlin Young fan. I think JHK John Hunko, I think he has interviewed her a few times. She fought for the Invicta belt a few times. Ignore her record. She's just one of those people who just always goes for wars. It should be a pretty fun fight. And a possible fight of the night. But you know what? PFL every time has surprised me. If I had to do some sort of graph that showed the quality of production and the quality of presentation over the total revenue of a promotion, PFL is by far and away the best promotion in the world. I think they put on a great show, great presentation, particularly considering they're probably not as big as One or Bellator or the UFC or Rizin. They put on probably the best show, and I found it super entertaining. And Randy Couture and Kenny Florian, I think, are one of the best commentary teams out there.
Yep. Agree. I love the presentation, like you say, Chris. Gina Fabian, I think JHK also interviewed her. Go check that out on the channel. That was
absolutely fantastic. I want to say, isn't she the first female from City Kickboxer to fight in PFL, Bellator, UFC? I think so, but I'm not sure. We don't often see many women coming out of City Kickboxing, no fault of their own. Sometimes it's just the hands that you're dealt. I'm going to big up. I'm big on City Kickboxing. I love them, and I want to see them do absolute best. So I'm going to back my Kiwi girl, Jenna Fabian.
Yes, sir. I'm with you. Chris. And JHK also went for her. So check out that interview. And the last card we're going to cover quickly. Rizin 29, Chris.
Rizin 29.
Wow, what a busy weekend. Yeah.
It does not even seem to be on here right now.
Okay, it's not there. Michael, if you're listening, sir, please add the Rizin card.
Rizin 29. It should be absolutely awesome. It's a super nice long card you can enjoy with on your Sunday, as always, with Rizin. Starts off, actually, I believe, with 5 kickboxing fights. You've got 2 semi-finals for their kick tournament. Then you get into the MMA. Got a few nice matchups. Shirikara versus Gina Oi. Yuki Kanawa versus Yusuke Yachi should be fun. And then we go into the last 4 fights of the opening round of the Bantamweight Grand Prix. And I mean, we have Takizawa versus Imanari, the legend himself. That should be an interesting fight. If Imanari could get through it, it's just going to be interesting because I want to say he comes up against one of the Asakuras in the next round, but I might be wrong. I haven't got the bracket in front of me. You've got Otsuka versus Yamashita, which should be a great fight. And then obviously to kick the whole night off, you've got the Rizin Kick tournament final, which should be pretty fun, but just be nice as well to get that Grand Prix moving. All Grand Prix should be moving. Chatri, are you listening? You know, and it will well and truly get into it with the quarterfinals, so that should be pretty good fun. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much all the events of the weekend covered off. Probably for me, the event of the weekend is probably going to be the UFC. I think you're going to see the most action in it, but I wouldn't sleep. I think the main events, particularly of the PFL and Bellator, are fantastic. And if you love your kickboxing, your MMA, definitely check out that Rizin card.
So much MMA, so little time.
So much MMA, man, and we are in the best time to be a fight fan, so it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, well, I think that about wraps it up, Chris, for what we plan to talk about. There's a question here from Rain. I guess we could answer quickly. What does Chris and Nico think about fighter hype? Does it annoy you guys? I'm going to let you take that, Mr. CEB.
You know what? It doesn't bother me, fire hype. I think a lot of the time it's not caused by the fighter, it is caused by the promotion. I think that's totally fair to say. And you know what? That's kind of the job of the promoter. Far too often in this sport, Dana White says you should be putting your name out there. You should be like Jake Paul. You should have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which I don't totally agree with. He is the promoter. His job is to promote them,
Rocket science, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's the same with anything. WWE, it's the same with boxing. You see a little bit more in boxing. They're a lot better at promoting. They protect the fighters a lot more. Don't see it so much in the UFC. And then Rain has given some examples. Chimaev, to tell you the truth, he kind of created his own hype by tearing around so quickly and staying in Abu Dhabi. I think some of that might be links from his background in southern Russia. I want to say he's Dagestani, but I'm not sure. Dagestani Swedish, but I think some of that might be due with the Dagestan United Arab Emirates links. Kevin Holland.
He's Chechenian, right?
Chechenian. Is he? Okay.
Swedish.
Chechnya and Dagestan, they are right next to each other.
Okay,
Sorry, South Russia, I'll say. Caucasian Russian from the Caucasus. I don't mean to offend anyone.
I'm offended, Chris. You offended me.
Well, I know. You need your safe space, Nick. You've got Kevin Holland that Rain also mentioned, and that was a little bit different because that was kind of a little bit that was in 2021. I would say the promotion really got behind him when they did that big cover on him with all of his cars and his trainer collection. I thought that was super weird, and that's kind of backfired. But I would say Kevin Holland's promotion really was just the way he was winning and the devastating wins. And then he had, was it Joaquin Buckley had that amazing spinning back kick against him because Sangnasad gave Joaquin Buckley a big thing, the Kanye West song he was in. And then you had him fight Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland kind of was that his 4th win of the year? That kind of pushed him. It was just a coming together of stuff. And then Rain also mentions Paige Van Sant. I wouldn't say it was least deserving. She's got a lot of star quality. That one out of the 3 of them will probably be the biggest push from the promoter, in my opinion. Her and Sage were really, really pushed. And that's it. And I mean, it doesn't annoy me. Fighter hype. I'd like to see more fighters get hype. I'd like to see, you know what? They've done it with. They seem to be doing it with more fighters down the card now. Like they did it with Sasha, our friend, and they've done it with a few other fighters who fight prelims who've just debuted, where they're doing like little 5-minute documentaries on them, covering them. I can't remember what it's called. Is it called Inside the UFC or?
Yes. Hang on.
Yeah, something like that. So they are trying to promote more. I guess they've got their own platform out there, so they've got a lot of content they can make. And the amount of fighters who are now living in Las Vegas or South Florida or California, there's a bit more of a regionalization. If you have a camera crew in Florida, maybe one on the East Coast and one in Las Vegas that can travel to California, you can pretty much cover a large base of your fighters anyway. WMMA scene now has said PFL matchmaking this year has been atrocious for the ladies. I will agree with that one. And then we had Makoto Kyogo say, will we ever see Sanchez fighting one? I think Sanchez is done fighting at that level. A large part of his career over the last few years has been exhibitions. Every so often he has gone against the top guy. I don't think he wants to fight in one either. I think with his advanced age, he is the richest ever Muay Thai fighter. He is actually generally on the Thai Forbes list. People don't realize how much money he actually made. So he's got, I think, about $10 million, $15 million. So he's made a lot of money in combat sports, particularly for the sport he's been in. He's got a huge following online. And I think fighting in the stadiums is just a little bit better because, fighting those 5 rounds because he's such a big star. But over there, the first 2 or 3 rounds anyway, they kind of go slowly and just draw with each other because they want to wait for everyone to gamble and start betting. So there's maximum money on the fight. So, if he's doing a 3-round fight over there, it's really only a 2-round that's going to be competitive. And you can't really do that in one. So I don't think we will see Sanchez, but you never know. There's always a possibility. I think they'd love to get him because, no Muay Thai fighter has as many Instagram followers as Sanchez, right? Everyone knows who Sanchez is in the combat sports world. You know what, Nick? I'm sorry to drag on this show. I know you've got places to be, but can I ask? Fine. I want you to bring up one article. Can you bring up that Sage Northcutt article that's been doing the rounds?
Which one is that?
Oh, it's a very interesting article. I found it really odd because
before and after.
Yeah, I want to say it was SB Nation.
Yes, I've got it here.
Yeah.
Okay, my camera is like flashing at me, which means the battery might die. So hopefully we'll get this in before I do that. These before and after UFC picks are not suspicious in any way.
Yeah, which is a really, really odd way to title an article. I mean, I love the journalists for being totally impartial and non-biased. I do like that kind of reporting. Thank you very much, Jesse Holland. Shots fired. If you want to have a fight and fight circus, I'm down. They're always looking for a media member versus media member fight. And then they do have a little bit of a comparison between Stage Northcutt and talking about how nasty his bout with COVID-19 has been. I think this is the before picture. Yeah, can we get it up? Scroll down a bit. And, you know, he's always been ripped and tanked, and that's it. And then I think if we get the after picture, there's been a big, big change.
Yes, that is a change.
It is one hell of a change.
Well, Sage likes the gym. And he likes to eat.
He lives in the gym. And as well, what we do have to remember about this, guys, is a lot of people try and point that this is dope, and they try and point that it is dope. And I don't think you can always say that. I think it's probably, you know, when you have a guy who's 40 years old, right, and they have a big change like this, then you can say something. But a lot of people, we do have to remember, Sage is still, what, 25? 26 maybe, I think. Oh, 25, I just Googled it. So, you know, he is still filling out. His testosterone is still bouncing through his body. Yeah, you can't really say it's anything. I just thought it was a bit of a disingenuous article. And, you know, there is a lot of people out there in the media, particularly in the West, who like to bash one championship a little bit. But, you know, does Jesse Holland write articles about Bellator and PFL not having USADA? I don't think so, but maybe it's a little bit of an easy target.
Well, my camera has died, so
wow.
I think you could just see a picture behind me. So maybe we'll leave it there, Chris.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just like invisible now. I'm John Cena. You can't see me. All right.
Definitely. So you're going to apologize in Chinese?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, for the show. Makoto Kyokugu. I would love to see Sanchez versus Liam Harrison 4, but for me, Liam Harrison still has a lot left to give in the sport more than Sanchez, who's a bit more of an exhibition fighter. He's kind of not fully the Floyd Mayweather route, but kind of gone down a little bit of that route. I thought that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you for watching WMMA Scene Now. And Somdat Roy is saying, why will you not juice when you are allowed to? Well, there is drug testing in one championship, but how good it is, and it's very opaque. That's all I can say. No one really knows the answer.
I've switched to my other camera, so.
Okay, it's nice, man. It's a nice change of scenery. Just a little bit low on the microphone, but apart from that, it's nice to have your beautiful face back on the screen.
Oh, I can't hear myself again, though. So, I mean, one thing goes wrong, another goes wrong, another. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely no problem. I think we'll call it one.
Did you ask, sorry, James asked about Zhang Weili making excuses for her loss.
Ooh.
I will back up Zhang here, because she did say, like, explicitly, I am not making an excuse. I am just pointing out that these things happened, like this and that and that. But as I said again, Rose won. No excuses. I think the word's been twisted a little bit, by the media, which happens, of course. So
yeah, but we also have to remember, some people have not lost before, so losing for the first time is a big thing. Some fighters always come up with excuses why they lose. Nick and Nate Diaz come up with an excuse for every time. In their mind, they're undefeated. Chael Sonnen is a little bit the same. In his mind, he's undefeated. Some people need to always have an excuse why they lost, because that's what drives them on. They can never see themselves as a loser. I mean, look, it is her first loss. She's going to come back. And I think the thing is, she's had her first loss on the grandest stage of all. You can look at someone like Usman. You can look at someone like Covington, Nick Diaz, Conor McGregor. They never lost on the grandest stage of all. There's very few fighters who do.
Apparently, no one could hear me. Can you hear me now?
That's absolutely much better. Yeah, the only one I can think of kind of similar to that was probably Francis recently. Oh no, that wasn't even his first loss. He'd lost prior to that. So there's not many people in the UFC who, their first losses in a title fight. Ronda Rousey, I would have to say, would be the last one.
Jesus, bloody! I blame Jared. So I guess no one heard what I was saying then. I was just saying I don't think Zhang was making excuses. I think that she actually said explicitly, I'm not trying to make an excuse. Rose won, full credit to her. But these are things that happen. I'm just pointing those out. But again, yes, I'm not making an excuse. I think the media twisted it ever so slightly, as they are wont to do. I hope that covered it, James. Yes. I think that's all I said. I can't remember what else I said. So apologies. I've had technical difficulties all day.
I want to say just very quickly to WMAC now. I do think one need this Singapore thing at the moment does not seem to be working. I mean, they've got a better vaccination rate than Hong Kong, but we don't know what will happen with these new variants. I think they should be looking at a location elsewhere, but it's very, very hard to do because you look at other places where there's huge sporting events going on, and it's places like Australia, New Zealand, which are fairly closed apart from with each other. The UFC is okay because in America, there's it's a state-by-state basis, so they can't put on a huge event in lots of states, but there will always be 3, 4, 5, 6 states that will open up for them. They've obviously got the government connection with the United Arab Emirates, and I don't really know what the answer is for Singapore and one championship. The one thing I would say is the island of Phuket in southern Thailand now is about 70% vaccinated, and they're putting the whole island in a bubble. And they're planning to get to about 80, 90%. And obviously, some people can't get vaccinated because of immunological problems or other stuff. So, I mean, they do have a very strong connection with Thailand. One championship, Chatri himself is half Thai in effect. I think sometimes he considers himself probably Thai is his primary nationality. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think for sure Phuket, however you want to pronounce it, I think it would be an awesome location for him. I think that's probably the most likely place.
Imagine that. One fight island.
Yeah, man, and it would be a real island.
Yeah.
That, on an island that people like to go on holiday to a little bit more than what's the island called?
An island people can afford to go on holiday to.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And as well in Thailand, you can drink a little bit more freely than you can in the UAE.
But even if I could go to Fight Island, I can't afford the hotel. Someone was telling me it's $250 a night to just cover the event, right?
That's for the bubble.
Yeah, which you have to be in. But I feel like Phuket would be more affordable. So, yeah, Chatri, I know you listen to the channel every now and then, or unless you're just blowing smoke up my ass. But Phuket, let's do it. One championship, Fight Island.
There is a possibility. There is a possibility, though, like Fight Island or Phuket, there is a possibility that there could be no bubble if you're fully vaccinated, which you are. That's the possibility, is that if the island is 90% vaccinated and you're vaccinated, there's not really any need for a bubble, in my opinion. But I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not Leon Jennings. I'm not going to try and give you guys advice when I have no background in. Probably best to ask a doctor. Don't listen to any medical advice you get from this show. Go to the professional.
Some discreet pot shots at Leon there. Rain asking if we can get more Ramona interviews. Drake interviewed her last week. Yeah, I guess when she gets another fight book or something.
She looks like she's been partying hard non-stop with Jojo Calderwood.
Yeah,
was it Wet and Wild or something like that? They seem to be having a good time out there.
It was Big John Wood's birthday, I think. So
okay,
yeah, they were celebrating that.
Well, I guess John Wood and Jojo probably won't be celebrating too much with Scotland going out in the group stage once again.
Oh.
Sorry, but I do think we will see Ramona very soon, guys. I actually, in my opinion, I think that's her with Icon. I think she's one and done. She was so dominant in that display. I probably think it's LFA next, in my opinion.
Isn't one already on an island? Singapore.
Oh, John KO getting a technicality in, right?
I love a technicality. So there you go.
Yeah.
She's been
Okay.
partying hard with Syndicate, indeed. Yep, check out the Instagram. I guess any other questions, let us know. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. Chris, what's the rest of your day look like?
I've got the rest of the day off, so I plan to do a little bit of got a little bit of recycling to do, so I'm gonna get down to the recycling centre, do all my glasses and my cans,
Responsible of
give
you.
back, maybe go for a nice lunch, and apart from that, I've got not much else planned. Just trying to enjoy the day and get ready for the weekend.
Well, maybe I'll come join you for a lunch. Who knows? I haven't eaten breakfast, so I'm very hungry.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the bank balance though. Get paid tomorrow, so it might be.
Oh, that's nice. Everyone seems to be getting paid tomorrow.
Yeah, it's because the 27th is on Sunday, so it's coming forward to Friday. Yeah, that's not good, that bank balance. Okay. Well, that about wraps it up. Why don't we say goodbye and come back tomorrow for John's show. JHK will have Jeremy Brand of MMA Sucker on the show. I think I might also be on it, doing the comments and questions, production, that stuff. So come back 9 a.m. I think it is Hong Kong time. So 9 a.m. Singapore, 9 p.m. Eastern if you're in the US. I hope I got that right. And yeah, as I said before, Gan, Volkov, and Pettis interviews coming up today on SCMP MMA. Yeah, and then we'll be here Sunday maybe for a recap, Chris.
Oh, definitely. I mean, guys, we are trying to just put out a little bit more content. The interviews will keep coming quick and fast. I think it looks like it will be, I think, Tuesdays, Nick and John. I think Thursdays.
I have a bold plan, Chris, to do Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. But
oh, wow.
Even if it's just me talking on my own for an hour.
And then Sunday for the post-fight. So, yeah, I'm here every Thursday. I'm there on a Sunday for the post-fight. Check out John tomorrow, but that might be changing around. But we are trying to start going live 4 days a week for just general chat and to continue our post-fight. And you never know. There might be a little joint recap come Monday, Hong Kong time, Sunday night, US time. There might be a joint recap for Rizin 28 and 29. We might just put them both together and do a one-off grand.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Yes, I think we can say UFC on Sunday, UFC recap, and maybe a Rizin thing Monday. Tuesday I'll be back, hopefully with JHK, and Wednesday I'll try and line someone up. Maybe we'll get Leon back in. He's been quiet since he moved to Bali.
He's been out partying a lot.
Yes. And then Chris will be back here with me on the Thursdays. Every week, Thursdays is Chris Day because it's the one day he's not in his office. So
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but as Chris mentioned, trying to make this a little bit more regular, usually around the same time each day for you, so you just get it in your heads to tune in if you want to. Hopefully, we can build up a bit more momentum because it's fun as well.
Yeah, and definitely, guys. And if you ever want a question asked for next week, or you want a question specifically for us before, come at either us on Twitter or just comment below this where we've tweeted it out, and just ask us a question for next week, and we'll definitely get to it next time.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Chris. As always, enjoy
most
your
importantly,
day.
Remember to like and comment, guys, and subscribe. Let's get this video to 10 likes, please.
Yes, please. And thank you, everyone, commenting, asking questions. We appreciate it. Makes it much easier for us when we run out of things to say. All right. We'll catch you again tomorrow. Yes, tune in. JHK will be here with Jeremy Brand, and I think I'll be there as well. But see you guys next time.
Peace.